So have we decided on which religion we want to choose for our World Religion project?
I think we should probably do Native Americans since it's not a very common religion to cover. Yeah.
Because usually people like to do Buddhism, Hinduism these days because it's so easy to find like temples and people there, like in Malaysia. So, but Native American seems a little bit more, different, So I thought why not between that?
So what are the aspects that we'll be covering from our Native American religions?
Yeah, like rituals, totems, animistic beliefs, and okay, how many more are there?
I think we can also do the myths. We can do
With the
the
rituals,
shamans, yes, and as well as maybe the kind of discrimination they face today and how Native American the religions are practiced today.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So let's do it.
yeah, we should. Hey, where's Jihan? Did he message you?
Oh, yeah.
Why is he always running?
Guys, I'm sorry I'm late again, I'm sorry.
What is it this time?
Guys, I swear it's not my fault, it was Sakabek's fault.
Who the hell is
Sakabek?
You ever heard of Sakabek?
No.
In the American religion of the Naskapi people, they believed that there was a guy named Sakabek who was a trickster. He was essentially the reason every man made mistakes. So I'm late because of Sakabek.
Huh.
Ah,
Interesting.
so it's like a myth then.
Yeah, it's actually a myth.
Wow.
Oh.
Actually, I have one myth. Have you guys heard of it? It's from the powerful people. Have you heard of Pocahontas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pocahontas is really famous for like saving John Smith's life because he was basically invading Virginia. Powhatan wanted to kill John Smith, but in the end, Pocahontas actually saved his life. And later on, in the end, I remember that Pocahontas went to the United Kingdom and actually married a man named John Rolfe actually. But in the end, she actually passed away due to smallpox.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sad.
And her son-
Well, so I know a myth about the Cherokee people, and it's basically the myth of creation. During the 7 nights of creation, 12 animals stayed up, and out of those 12 animals, only 2 could stay up during the night, the owl and the cougar. And that's why, until today, the owl and cougar are the most important animals in the Cherokee religion, and oftentimes are used as totem poles.
Oh.
So that's why they have those cougars on.
Yeah, that's why. How about we look up some myths on the Hopi people?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It says here that one of the myths of the Hopi people is that there's a prophecy, and it states that when the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, the 5th world will emerge. This will be the day of purification. It's essentially to warn people about the consequences of their actions. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about animism. The direct meaning of animism is the attribution of a living soul to plants, inanimate objects, and natural phenomena, or the belief in a supernatural power that organizes and animates the material universe. Essentially, what it means is the Native American people believed that every object, including plants, animals, and natural phenomena, has a soul. So if you look at this picture here, there's a picture of a Native American man looking to the skies. So they believe that even the skies have a soul. So if you look closely enough, you will see a slight apparition of a man and a wolf at the back. Alright? And now we're going to look at some animals that the Native American people respected because they believed in animism. So if you look here, there's a wolf, a deer, a ram, more wolves, an owl. So these are some of the examples of the animals that the Native American people respected and worshipped. Now, let's look at the sun and the moon. The Native American people believe that even the sun and the moon have a soul. This is because the sun is a source of energy for the Native American people, and the moon had separate meanings of its own. Let's look at a few examples. So, if you look here, Every month, the Native American people had a different description of the moon. For example, on September 19th, they saw the moon as the harvest moon, which is when they did their harvesting. They harvested their crops. 1 month later, on the October 18th, is the hunter's moon, which is when they went hunting. And there's a few others like the full beaver moon, the full cold moon, the full snow moon, the flower moon, strawberry moon, and the full buck moon, which is where they get the symbols of their animals from. So that is the basic understanding of how the Native American people believed in animism, and until today, this practice of animism has spread out towards many cultures throughout the globe.
Now, let us look at some of the modern challenges faced by the Native American people today. The first challenge is the federal government strips the Native American lands from the Native Americans. The second challenge is the Native Americans have no rights to vote. The third challenge is mass incarceration and policing. The fourth challenge is violence against women and children. The fifth challenge is the education system is failing for the Native Americans. The sixth challenge is Native American rights are not recognized by the federal government. The seventh challenge is the native languages are dying. And the eighth and last challenge is the communities are impoverished and jobless.
Now, let us look at the first challenge faced by the Native American people, which is the federal government stripping the native land from the Native American people. So America was built on land taken from Indian nations, and indigenous peoples across the country are still living with the reality of this position. Members of the San Carlos Apache Nation in Arizona are still fighting the sale of their sacred Oak Flat site to foreign mining conglomerates. Now let's look at the second challenge, the rights to vote. Native Americans and Alaska Natives are often unable to vote because there are no polling places anywhere near them. Some communities such as Duck Valley Reservation in Nevada and the Goshute Reservation in Utah are located more than 100 miles from the nearest polling place. These problems are compounded by high rates of illiteracy in some rural native communities, such as the Yupik in Alaska, who primarily speak and read their native language because public education was not available in their region until the 1980s. Now let's look at the third challenge faced by the Native American people, which is mass incarceration and policing. In July 2015, Paul Castaway, a mentally ill Rosebud Sioux tribal citizen, was shot and killed by Denver police. His death led to protests in the Denver Native community and has shed light on the shocking rate at which police kill Native Americans, who account for less than 1% of the national population, but who make up nearly 2% of all police killings according to data compiled by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They also make up 15% of population, but 38% of prison population. Now let's look at the fourth challenge faced by the Native American people, the violence against women and children. Native American communities, and particularly Native women and children, suffer from an epidemic of violence. Native women are 3.5 times more likely to be raped or sexually assaulted in their life than women of other races. 22% of Native American children suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, which is a rate that is equal to that found among Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Often this violence comes from outside the community. Now let's look at the fifth challenge faced by the Native American people. The education system is failing for the Native Americans. Only 51% of Native Americans in the class of 2010 graduated high school. Native Hawaiians fared better, but still underperformed compared to their peers. For Native Americans at least, their disparities are in large part the result of inadequate federal funding, to the point where some schools on Indian reservations are deteriorated and structurally dangerous. Now let's look at the sixth challenge, which is the rights not recognized by the federal government. Native Hawaiians and members of many other Native communities throughout the US have never received federal recognition of their rights as Native peoples. This deprives them of basic services, and even of the limited rights of self-governance available to other Native communities. In 2015, however, the Obama administration announced that it would be streamlining the federal recognition process, making it easier for unrecognized Indian nations to secure their rights under the law. Now let's look at the seventh challenge faced by the Native American people, which is that native languages are dying. Native languages are struggling to survive in the United States, with 130 of them at risk according to UNESCO and another 74 which are critically endangered, while some communities such as the Native Hawaiians, the Anishinaabe and the Navajo have had success preserving and revitalizing their languages. Native communities face obstacles from testing and curriculum requirements of No Child Left Behind, and educators who want to teach young people about native languages and cultures have to contend with a general lack of funding and resources. Now let's look at the last challenge. The communities are impoverished and jobless. Native people suffer from high rates of poverty and unemployment. 17% of Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders and 27% of all self-identified Native Americans and Alaska Natives live in poverty, according to US Census Bureau data. Last year, President Barack Obama visited the Standing Rock Sioux on the border of North and South Dakota, where the poverty rate is 43.2%, almost 3 times the national average. The unemployment rate on the Standing Rock Reservation was over 60% as of 2014. The national figure distorts the prevalence of poverty on Indian reservations and in Alaska Native communities where 22% of Native people live.
Now, let's look at the 10 interesting facts about Native Americans. Fact number 1. The Sequoia tree is named in honor of the Cherokee leader Sequoia, who helped his people develop an alphabet. Fact number 2. Ishi is widely known as the last wild Indian in America. In 1911, he walked out of the wilderness into Oroville, California, and would later be studied by anthropologists. Fact number 3. By the time Christopher Columbus returned to the New World the second time, European diseases had killed over 2/3 of Native Americans. Fact number 4. American Indians did not receive US citizenship until 1924. Fact number 5. Native Americans were the first to play lacrosse. French settlers thought the stick looked like a bishop's crusade, so when they introduced it to Europe, they called it lacrosse. Fact number 6. The Mohawk hairstyle is named after the Mohawks, which was one of the tribes that made up the Iroquois nation. Fact number 7. The name Pocahontas, meaning the naughty one, was a childhood nickname that referred to her frolicsome nature. She was actually born Matuaka. Fact number 8. Some papoose were built with sharp projecting points, so that if a papoose fell off while the mother was riding a horse, the points would stick in the ground and protect the baby. Fact number 9. The ghost dance was a late addition to Native American belief systems, appearing around 1890s. It was believed that the ritual dance would help restore the old way of life,
before the arrival of the Europeans. Fact number 10. The average life expectancy of Native Americans trails other Americans by over 5 years.